Are the broadening sanctions on Russia finally hurting their ability to trade? Since the US expanded the criteria for imposing sanctions in June, several big Russian commodities exporters have complained that trading with China is now a gamble due to the increased freezing or delaying of direct payments made in yuan. Take a look at this next report for more.
A Bloomberg report quoting top executives at 3 Russian commodity exporter firms showed the most recent rounds of US sanctions has made it extremely difficult, if not impossible, to send money directly from China to Russia, even when using the yuan. According to another Bloomberg source, an employee of a Russian agricultural trading company, several Chinese customers who purchased Moscow's agricultural products have also had payment problems this month. Metals, agriculture and other commodities aren't the only businesses hit hard by the crisis. In a recent statement, the Association of Russian Automobile Dealers expressed concern that the country's exports of vehicles and auto parts from China could be disrupted by problems with payment settlements. China has recently been Moscow's primary supplier. The scenario shows how the Russian economy is gradually suffering as a result of the harsh sanctions imposed by the US and its allies. The central bank earlier this month said, and I quote, "A decrease in the degree of openness in the Russian economy is reflected in a decline in the share of imports and exports in GDP and an increase in the role of domestic demand and production." The United States' pressure on lenders has slowed down transactions with Russia's other major economic partners, notably Turkey and the United Arab Emirates, since the end of last year. Another stumbling block in trade with India has been the rupee's status of not being fully convertible. After the US threatened to slap secondary penalties on banks that enable trade with Russia's military-related businesses in December, payments between the two nations have faced hurdles. This comes even as China hasn't joined the West in implementing sanctions against Russia. Following President Vladimir Putin's meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in May, Russian companies informed local media in June that the matter had been handled utilizing minor regional banks. However, this was later contradicted when the US increased its sanctions criteria. Dmitry Polvoy, the investment director at Moscow-based Astra Asset Management, said, "A clear collapse in imports due to lags we don't see yet, but imports in rubles have already begun to decline." Addressing the issue of payment processing delays, he added that imports in rubles as a share of GDP are noticeably declining after recovering in 2023. People having trouble making a purchase usually figure out a way to pay nonetheless. So far, this was done either by using cryptocurrency or going through former Soviet republics like Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. While trade is still happening, it's certainly more expensive due to the greatly increased costs of making payments. Business Bureau